So here's a short story about a guy who is rightfully ending his engagement with his fiancée after things have gone way too far in terms of constant disrespect from her kids. Yes, you're going to see that she is, in fact, a single MOM, but she's a widow. Husband died when the kids were really young, very bad situation, but the kids have been giant jerks this entire time, and he is done because he's not going to marry into that and deal with that. And I'll be going to go over here, guys, once again, making the point, don't get involved with the single MOMs. While they're not all bad, even the good ones that are decent people could have kids that are complete monsters, and they don't discipline them, and you have to deal with that. It is not worth it. And again, I want to point out, it's one thing with a widow because, the husband tragically died from a disease or an accident or on the job or something like that. Not because they just were bad at choosing men, but still in that situation, which is definitely better than a single MOM that just picked the wrong guy and is terrible with men. Still, you're going to be dealing with a lot of the headaches, and it's not worth it, as he's going to find out. Titled, Am I the a-hole for wanting to end my engagement because your kids don't accept me and I want a family of my own? And a shout out to Jamal for sending this story. He says, I'm 34 years old and been with my fiancée, a 33-year-old female, for 6 years now. She was a widow with 2 kids when we met. The kids were 5 and 6 years old when their dad died, and they were 7 and 8 when I met my fiancée, and we've lived together for the past 3 years and engaged for 7 months. Okay, he's been with her for 6 years, not 7. We've all had individual therapy, family therapy, and me trying to go at their pace, but the kids don't like me. Why does he need therapy? Everybody's in fucking therapy. They won't like anyone their mom is with. That much is painfully clear. But they are so against me that I would not want to get married and have kids with my fiancé and bring them into a divided family. Then you shouldn't be with her. And here's an example of no good deed goes unpunished. He's been putting up with this crap for 6 years. Smack to him, God's sakes. But don't worry, he's done. It has been argued by some of her friends and mine that things might be this way because we're not married. That the kids would respect me and believe I'm staying if we get married. And I accept that there's a chance of that, but what if we get married and they still hate me, or maybe they hate me even more? No, they're not going to change if they get married. That's a bunch of crap. They're just trying to get this guy to marry her. The kids are willing to fight their own grandparents, aunts, and uncles over me. They do not want to be my friend. They do not want to see me as an uncle or a trusted adult. They do not want to see me as a parent, and they will yell at their relatives for referring to me as their parents. Not even their dad, but as one of their parents, and they are very firm in not wanting me to be their dad. They said nobody can take their dad's place. I even told them I would never try, but whatever relationship they're most comfortable with, nothing works. Yeah, I mean, this guy shouldn't have been with her this long. Shouldn't have been with her, period, but what's done is done. Still, I'm sure he said, I'm not trying to replace your dad. And by the way, I'm going to say this. It's horrible. They lost their dad. Sure, that can mess them up, but that doesn't mean a good guy being treated this badly. And I want to point something out here. You know darn well that their mom isn't disciplining them. Because if she was, I don't think they'd be behaving like this, not this long. But she probably feels bad because they lost their dad and has let them get away with a lot of crap, which you cannot allow, which says something about her. Spending time with them is like dragging them to the dentist. They resist and act like it's the worst thing ever, and they won't open up to me or have fun, even one-on-one, with just one of the kids. Not to mention, they constantly disrespect me when I'm alone with them. I get slightly less disrespect when others are around, but they decide to make me spending time with them hell. The disrespect is dialed up by 100. See, why the hell is he putting up with this? You telling me this is the only woman he can get with? Really? Of course this guy can get other chicks. This isn't like the Smurf village where the only chick is Smurfette and he got to put up with her blonde ass. No, there are other options out there. Why the hell he wasted 6 years with this broad? And I still think that she's not that great because otherwise she would have been disciplining those kids. Well, my fiancée says she wants to get married and have more kids, that she's been ready for a while. She even proposed to me, but I've told her I do not feel good about it when her kids are where they are with me. She knows I want kids of my own, and she told me we'll have them. No way. Marrying her is a bad idea, and having kids with her? If you think those kids are shitheads now, wait till they have competition. Oh no. She seems willing to believe her kids will come around to the idea of me someday, and we just need to show them that I'm not going anywhere. They've had 6 years. 6 years. They're teenagers now. They're like 14 and 15 or 13 and 14, whatever it is. Yeah, no more. I think it's a big risk, and the one is harder to break. As is, I could move out today, and we're not entangled anymore. Marriage and kids together changes it. My fiance's family desperately want me to stick it out, and once I made my fiance that I'm seriously considering ending things, they were begging me to commit and stick it out. Of course they are, because they're thinking in their daughter's interest. They want her to have a man. They want her to have a husband. They want those kids to have a guy around. Oh, by the way, and also to help financially. You know darn well this guy's been paying for those kids, even though they've been treating him like shit. I cannot believe this guy's been sticking around dealing with that disrespect this long. Well, backtrack. I can believe a guy would do that because it happens all the time. But at least he's waking up. They said that the kids need someone as solid as me, and we could still have the marriage and kids that I want to. Again, those kids don't want him. Then she wants more kids. My fiancé said it's not fair that we have to break up over this. Oh yeah, fiancé, it's not fair. I've been dealing with your asshole kids. Yes, they're assholes for 6 years of disrespect. I've done my time. I've tried. What have you done? I told her she's not the one who has to live with kids who hate her, and have admitted to their therapist and to their cousins they would be happy to see me dead if it meant removing me from the equation. Am I the a-hole for wanting to leave? No, get out of there. Cut your losses and move on. The kids are telling their cousins and the therapist they want to see him dead rather than have him around. These freaking kids are awful. And again, boils down to who they're going to listen to. Their mother. And their mother isn't disciplining because she feels bad. And I feel bad those kids lost their dad too. But that doesn't mean they get to go around like this the rest of their lives. You know what kind of adults they're going to be? No. Goodbye. Over. And he invested 6 years of his life with her. But you know what? He's 33. This dude can have kids for decades. His prime's just beginning. He can lick his wounds, move on, take a couple years to himself, figure out where he went wrong, other things like that. Find a chick who doesn't have any children. Don't be any white knighting or anything like that. And then have a family, and he'll be fine, and learn from this bad experience. But my God, no, he cannot be with her. So, but of course, he's going to be mad. I guarantee you he breaks up with her. I mean, let's be honest, he's breaking up with her. He'll be painted as the villain. Even though he spent 6 years doing nice things for her and those kids, I guarantee you, she and the family are making him out to be a bad guy here. No joke. And anybody else that agrees with that, get rid of him. Now, some comments here. And everybody in the comment section is unified, which is nice. One guy says here, not the a-hole. Those kids are dead set on being complete hellions to anyone that their mother's involved with. Your fiancé is doomed to spend the rest of her child-rearing years alone because of the attitudes of her kids. Run while you can. I still say she has something to do with those kids' attitude. Another one. Not the a-hole. You've been in the kids' lives for 6 years, and they still are hostile to you. They do not want you around. Therapy hasn't helped. Encouragement from family hasn't helped. Marrying your fiancé would be a terrible mistake as the children aren't worried you may leave. They want you to leave. The best option is to end the relationship. However painful that may be, it's not fair to you or your fiancé, but it's reality. Please be careful not to bring a baby in this situation. Yeah, that would be a terrible idea. You think the kids are bad now? Wait till there's a baby involved. I mean, he hasn't mentioned about them doing any violent things, but yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. And one more. It says, hi, I've been this widow. I am this widow. This is from a woman. She says, so lonely after the grief subsided, but my kids were hell-bent on the idea that no man can replace their dad. Nothing you do will change those little minds. Not therapy, not spending time with them, nothing. The worst idea of all is giving them step-siblings to complain about. They won't accept those babies as their siblings, and OMG, I can hear the endless complaints. If you so much as ask them to back up and let the baby breathe, much less empty a diaper pail. Thank you, this is from a woman. There's just an entitlement, or for lack of a better word, that sets in with young children when one parent dies. They don't have memories of raging arguments, no bad behavior, no cheating, no drama. None of the nonsense divorced adults pull on each other. The deceased is remembered, sometimes even recast in absolute perfection, and they won't accept anybody else. Mine were 9 and 12. Yes, I've now been widowed longer than I was married. I was 40 when my husband died, and trying to date, oh Lord, my kids were evil to anyone I brought home. All 2 of them. To this day, I kind of want to apologize to those perfectly nice men for the things my children said or did to them. At this point, I have few regrets about remaining single, but I'm 65. Still, I can't say I regret not putting to the hell I read about on Reddit when people try to blend the families. Good luck. That's from a woman, and she's been through this. So, excuse me, guys. Getting a little sick here. But anyhow, guys, don't be this guy. Again, proving don't get involved with single and wimps. And you know what? Sometimes it can be a nice lady, but the kids are a-holes. But then again, she lets them be little a-holes. You know, I mean, when they're grown-ass adults, that's one thing. But when they're kids, a lot of times, you know, and again, I felt bad they lost their dad, but that gives them no right to be this way. But this guy wasted 6 years. But I hope he learns.